there will be consequences for right-wingers who engaged in the Capitol riots. We know this because so many of them have already been charged. Hundreds of them have already been charged. Now, members of far-right groups like the Proud Boys that had been incredibly loyal to Donald Trump have decided to turn on him because of his refusal to pardon them. In fact, they're shocked that many of them are getting arrested. So in dozens of conversations on social media sites like Gab and Telegram, members of the group have begun calling Trump a shill and extraordinarily weak. Last week, for instance, I know.
Wow. Extraordinarily weak. That was too good. Sorry. Continue, Anna, sorry.
So last week, Nicholas Fuentes, the leader of America First, God, there's so many of these awful groups. Anyway, wrote in his Telegram channel that Trump's response to the Capitol rampage was very weak and flaccid, and added, not the same guy that ran in 2015. Trump will go down as a total failure, the Proud Boys said in the same Telegram channel on Monday. You know, what's amazing is like how oblivious these guys were, like how blind they were, because really it took this long for you to see how weak Donald Trump was. Like it took this long. And it's all obviously based on self-interest. Like they wanted to storm the Capitol, they wanted to vandalize it, they wanted to threaten members of Congress, and they genuinely thought that they wouldn't have to face any consequences for it. They thought Trump would come in and save them because they've seen him as their savior. But Donald Trump doesn't care about you guys. You guys are pawns, you guys are clowns, and you were used. His base was used. You think Trump ever cared about anyone who voted for him? No, he manipulated them. He manipulated the Proud Boys. He did so by exploiting their anger, their rage, their frustrations, their hatred. To think of Donald Trump as a strong person, he wears bronzer, people. He's he's in his mid-70s. He wears bronzer and like obsesses over his ridiculous hair and cries about how unfair everything. Donald Trump is the epitome of weak. And again, just because they didn't get pardoned for the criminality they engaged in, they're like, oh no, now we know.
Hold on, Anna. We gotta show some level of fairness to the Proud Boys when you consider Trump's pardon list. The people that he pardoned, I mean, come on. Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, Kwame Kilpatrick. My personal favorite, which I think you're gonna enjoy, Anna, because you are a Los Angeles, California native, Harry O, the person who provided Marion Suge Knight with the seed money to found Death Row Records that gave us the Chronic, Doggy Style, Tupac's All Eyes on Me, some of rap's classics. The person who provided Suge Knight with the seed money for Death Row Records via his ill-gotten proceeds, by the way, through the drug game, of course. Donald Trump pardoned him too. So when you see the people that the Donald pardoned and not his slaves and the Proud Boys, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's gotta be tough to be one of those proud slaves and to not have gotten pardoned, man. It's tough, it's tough.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. You just added another wrinkle to this fantastic story. And by the way, I think whether he did it intentionally or unintentionally, I don't know. But the fact that Trump did not pardon these, right-wing gang members was important for peace yesterday during the inauguration, because they had urged, like these Proud Boys and all these other right-wing gangs had urged their supporters to stop attending rallies and protests in support of Donald Trump. And there were some hiccups yesterday, I believe in Oregon and maybe one other place in the country, but nothing like what we experienced in the Capitol. So I do think that them turning on Trump was an overall positive thing for inauguration. Liberation Day. Now, let's talk a little more about prominent right-wing gang members who have been arrested for their participation in the riots in the Capitol. Joe Biggs, for instance, faces charges of obstructing, influencing, or impeding an official proceeding, knowingly entering a restricted building without lawful authority, and willfully and knowingly engaging in disorderly conduct to impede a session of Congress. Who is Joe Biggs? Well, he's actually the top dog over at the Proud Boys. So he's been arrested and charged. Also, Enrique Tarrio was arrested on January 4th and taken into custody on suspicion of destruction of property for destroying a Black Lives Matter sign at a historic Black church in Washington, D.C. last month. So he's one of these other right-wing extremists who's facing charges, and I'm very happy to share that with you. And what I love is that they talk about Trump like they're, like they were romantically involved and they were wronged. Like, like I caught him engaging in an affair. I came home early from my work trip. So Jared Holt reported that they thought they had his support and that ultimately Trump would come through for them, including with a pardon if they should need it. Now they realize they went too far in the riots. But by the way, like if Trump saw it as a benefit to himself to pardon them, even if they had gone too far, and they did go too far with the Capitol riots, like he would have pardoned them. He just doesn't see a use for them. Do they get it now? Like that's what I wonder. Do they understand that Trump doesn't care about anyone but himself, and he uses people, including them, for his own purposes? And once he thinks they're useless, and it's clear that he thinks they're useless now, he just like tosses them to the side and forgets about it. You think Trump cares about you? He's playing golf right now. He's chilling, he doesn't care. Enjoy your criminal charges.
No, and let me tell you why they're not gonna learn it. It's probably gonna take a little bit more than this. And I'm not afraid to use myself as an example here. And as somebody who was once a very loyal and devoted Kanye West fan, right? And I remember when the entire brouhaha with TMZ came out and he said slavery was a choice and they could have just left the field and walked to New York City or something from South Carolina, and all the hideous, disgusting things that he said. I said, no way. I didn't denounce Kanye at first. I said, no way. He's got to be shooting some type of Joaquin Phoenix mockumentary type situation, and this is all a gag. And the joke's on it. No, Kanye wouldn't do this. This is the guy that talked about the working man and working at the Gap and doing all of this and being the everyman. And then slowly but surely, interview after interview, a public appearance after public appearance. Also, horrible rap album after horrible rap album. I came to the realization that I could no longer support this guy and who he was and what he stood for, because he was so freaking selfish, self-involved, and clearly didn't care about anybody else, and definitely didn't care about the people who supported him the most throughout his career. So it took, countless betrayals from Kanye for me to accept it. But I'm telling you, when he did that TMZ, I said, no, this is a spoof. This has to be, I have to be getting punked right now. So no, Anna, they're not gonna accept this and leave him alone yet. I can tell you, because I was once the battered fan and cult member.
All right, but I mean, it seems like you did see the light though.
Yes,
so maybe there's a possibility.
I did. So there's always a ray of hope for in all of us, right? Like we can't give up on each other, Anna. That should be the theme for today's show. Let's not give up on each other.
Let's not give up on each other. Well, QAnon hasn't given up quite yet. They're still trying to find weird ways to twist their own conspiracy theories to kind of fit what's going on in reality right now. So the big QAnon thing today is that Trump is only stepping down because the United States government, as we know it, is over, soon to be replaced by a restored American republic that's also led by Trump. That's an actual QAnon conspiracy theory. Then, by the way, it kind of morphed into something different. QAnon believers are convinced the arrests are about to start right now, with Biden maybe in on the plan himself. The main question they're grappling with is how regular people will cope with QAnon being proven right. No, okay, and I'm not saying this as an insult because it's sincere and something clearly needs to be done about this. we need to pass something like Medicare for all. We need mental health care in this country. Like there are far too many people who are dealing with undiagnosed mental health issues, and it's beyond a problem. It really is. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Like this, to think that there's like some crazy underground child sex trafficking ring and Biden's involved, but then it turns out Biden's not involved and he's actually in on catching, No,
but I saw that. I saw somewhere that him and President Trump switch faces like the Nick Cage movie, like Face Off, like this.
My hope is that these people know that their comments are being monitored and they're just trolling us. Like that would, I would love to find out that we're all just being trolled. That would be fantastic. Actually. That would be please troll us. Like I would love that. I would prefer that over this actually being real, that there's, this dominant group of conspiracy theorists among Republican voters who are absolutely convinced that all of their political opponents are child sex traffickers. Like that is such a depressing thought. And I still haven't really come to terms with the fact that a portion of this population believes stuff like that.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.